It seems that at a certain point, the media just has to stop lying because we can see the data and we can live our lives. In Florida, Governor Ron DeSantis took some controversial approaches to dealing with COVID. And they were only controversial because the media kept saying, you are wrong. You will get people killed. You better lock down, shut down the schools, double mask, get everybody that vaccine. And now we can look at the numbers and what's happening. Well, California is doing worse. New York is doing worse. Many other states are doing way worse than Florida is. Now, by all means, I think the vaccines are great. It's awesome that we were able to get them done so quickly. Donald Trump deserves a lot of credit for this. But if you look at what's going on in New Jersey and Pennsylvania and Michigan and New York, and you got these nursing home scandals, we can clearly see Ron DeSantis did a much, much better job. Kristi Noem, a much, much better job. Yet the media would not stop going after them. It's about time we got back to work, ladies and gentlemen. And the time for that was a long, long time ago. Well, a long time ago, as in like probably 7 or 8 months ago. It was supposed to be 15 days to slow the spread, not a year anniversary. And Biden now is still saying we need more COVID lockdown. Doesn't matter. People in Florida are living it and they're fine. A lot of people have lost their lives. That's a bad thing. We all recognize that. But we need to make sure we don't destroy everyone's lives, our economy and our country, to save some lives because, as Trump often said, the cure cannot be worse than the disease. What's shocking now, my friends, is that national media is actually starting to recognize Ron DeSantis. He was right the whole time. I know. You may be shocked. You may be laughing about how dumb these people were. Think about the devastation caused by these midwits in media who want to impose their draconian rule without logic, sound, or science. Think about the damage that would have been wrought if Ron DeSantis listened to them. Now they're being forced to come out and say, maybe he was right. Axios reports Florida's pandemic response gets a second look from national media. After a solid year of living with the pandemic, the national press is beginning to ask the question that even Democrats have been quietly pondering in the Sunshine State. Was Governor Ron DeSantis' pandemic response right? For Florida? I love how they say for Florida, because that way they don't have to drag all the other failures across the country. Well, we recognize that Florida is an individual state and his decisions were right for Florida. Sure. I'd be willing to bet Ron DeSantis' decisions would have worked well for many other states, notably not putting sick people into nursing homes where you were warned people will die. They say, don't forget, more than 32,000 Floridians have died, a number the state's leaders rarely acknowledge, but our death rate is no worse than the national average and better than some states with tighter restrictions. The LA Times compared Florida and California's responses. California imposed myriad restrictions that battered the economy and have left most public schools students learning at home for a year. Florida adopted a more laissez-faire approach, decried the public health experts, allowing indoor restaurant dining, leaving masks optional, and getting children back in classrooms sooner. But it points out, if California had Florida's death rate, roughly 6,000 more Californians would be dead from COVID-19, and tens of thousands of additional patients likely would have landed in already overburdened hospitals. And if Florida had California's death rate, roughly 3,000 fewer Floridians would be dead from COVID-19. Okay, then maybe the reality is Ron DeSantis just knew better for his state. But the media would not let go. The same is true for Kristi Noem and Greg Abbott in Texas. The national media, comprised of people who live in big cities, mostly the Beltway in D.C. and in New York, think they know better than you do and your local officials. I mean, this is a really great story to place right next to gun control. They think they know what works for where you live. They do not. It's a really great bit of news for advocates of more state control and a weakening of the federal government. They say on Sunday's front page, the New York Times explored the positives, from the booming real estate market to Florida's low unemployment rate. For an early reopening, quote, much of the state has a boom town feel, writes Patricia Maze, a sense of making up months of lost time. The Times notes that Florida's unemployment rate is 5.1% compared to 9.3% in California, 8.7% in New York, and 6.9% in Texas. Quote, that debate about reopening schools, it came and went months ago. Children have been in classrooms since fall, and it appears people aren't dropping dead in the streets. It seems like Ron DeSantis was right. I want to give a shout out to Ron DeSantis. You know why? He's also going after big tech censorship. I'm shocked, really, that we don't have any real leadership in this country. And Ron DeSantis, by all means, every politician is worthy of criticism. And I hate to come out here and be like, look at all these great things by this politician. No, Ron DeSantis certainly is worthy of criticism, but here he is worthy of praise. I will give Joe Biden praise because he moved the vaccine timeline by a month, and I think it's worth noting. I think he should have given Trump credit. In this regard, Ron DeSantis has done a ton of really awesome things, going after big tech censorship. His decision making when it came to the pandemic seems to have been better than many others. Perfect? We don't know. Does this mean he will run for president, or he'll be brought on as vice president under a Donald Trump 2024 ticket? Many people are speculating that may be the case. I don't know for sure, but it certainly sounds like of all of the people we've heard from in a long time when it comes to the problems this country is facing, Ron DeSantis seems to have a better grasp of things than anyone else. I often say Republican leadership is an oxymoron. I'll tell you this, in Florida, that's where it's the exception, not the rule. Ron DeSantis did right by the people who live in his state. Again, perfect? We don't know. Better than many other states. They say the big picture. Much of the public part of DeSantis' pandemic response feels more and more like an audition for a 2024 presidential run, which Politico's Mark Caputo has noted. With a COVID death count cover-up consuming New York Governor Andrew Cuomo, and a pandemic-related recall effort haunting California Governor Gavin Newsom, Republicans are embracing DeSantis as a red state exemplar. Our thought bubble. We've long known that the state's pro-business Republican leadership was making a sort of grand bargain, that the death toll was the price paid for keeping commerce flowing and keeping kids in schools. The closer you are to either loss or to the fullness of life will likely determine how you feel about the state's response. Look at that. Let me repeat what they just said. We've long known that the state's pro-business Republican leadership was making a bargain. The death toll was the price for keeping commerce flowing. You see how broken this media is, how broken it is. Florida is doing better than many other states. Ron DeSantis wasn't putting, as far as I know, COVID patients into nursing homes. They avoided that. And then in many other states, people were literally killed. Cuomo, for instance, I mean, the story is horrifying. You know, for whatever reason, I think this may be one of the most important stories we've ever seen. People just don't seem to care. They don't. That's fine. You don't have to. I'm going to talk about it because it's something that we need to talk about. For Murphy and Cuomo, this is from NJ.com, questions persist over a decision to readmit nursing home residents. Here's what happened. Well, the gist of this, let me tell you, is that Andrew Cuomo is facing an investigation, criminal potentially, for a variety of reasons. We'll keep this one on COVID. Cuomo killed people. That's it. Period. I'm not here to have an argument with people. I have people saying, no, it was just a policy. I don't care. I don't care. He was warned. Look at this. Quote, patients will die. An unidentified administrator declared, according to a recording of the outspoken meeting obtained by NJ Advanced Media. You understand that by asking us to take COVID patients, by demanding we take COVID patients, that patients will die in nursing homes that wouldn't have otherwise died had we screened them out. They knew. And look at Ron DeSantis, who was vilified, demonized, smeared, attacked relentlessly. Far from a perfect individual, because nobody is. Cuomo literally killed people and was warned in no uncertain terms. And the media went after DeSantis. Why? Well, it appears in this country, if you're a Republican, you're a second-class citizen. Now, I'm not trying to claim Republicans are forced into squalor or anything like that. I'm just saying the media does not give you a fair chance. They will lie, they will cheat, and they will steal. And I think the tides may turn at some point, because right now it's all about the biggest market share for these media companies. They've decided to sacrifice fair and balanced in an effort to maximize their viewership. So when they're looking at a hyperpolarized country, they decided we have to play into the hyperpolarization, which means no credit for anyone who is not in our tribe. Why would we make any kind of statement that would benefit the other side? Our audience doesn't want that. Let me throw something into the mix. To Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, the money she raised for those in Texas, one of the coolest things I've ever heard. I love the idea that we can make the culture war about helping the poor better. And I love the idea that AOC showed up Ted Cruz, made him look bad, because she raised millions of dollars for the poor. That's what it's supposed to be about. So my respect on that regard. I'm not a fan of her politics. I'm not a fan of her behavior. But if she's going to be this like woke Twitterati snapback politician, but it's all about, I'm going to raise more money than you and help the poor. I'm like, oh no. She absolutely deserves all the credit in the world for that maneuver. She deserves criticism for the things I disagree with her. The same is true for Biden. Not a big fan. Here we go. Here comes the warmongering and the conflict. He moved up the vaccine distribution timetable, and I'm sure he's been working hard to make that happen. I respect it. Not perfect. Really don't like the guy. Never been a big fan of Donald Trump, just liked some of his policies. That's where we need to be as Americans. We need to look at what Ron DeSantis did and say, is it working? Instead, they say, he's a Republican who's going to kill people. That's dumb. And that will kill people. And when you look at Andrew Cuomo, and instead of just, oh man, go to my Instagram. Go to Instagram.com/TimCast. I got a picture. I can't believe this picture. It was a t-shirt. And it's got 3 check boxes. One says single, one says married, and then one said mentally dating Andrew Cuomo. Bravo, merchandisers. They knew that there were people who were obsessed with the guy. Meanwhile, Cuomo was being accused of a whole bunch of crazy things by 7 women. And we have a statement right here. We know for a fact, as a recording, they were warned, people will die if you do this. They did not care. And the big picture here is I'm not trying to just constantly rehash. We know about the nursing home things. We'll get some updates on it. I want to point out how the media played the game. Who did they attack? Kristi Noem, Republican, is refusing to lock down while South Dakota becomes a major hotspot. So I looked at the data. When all this is going down, I looked up the data from Johns Hopkins. And what did we find? South Dakota was not a hotspot. The population density is microscopic. There was no reason to do what they were demanding they did. Or other states were doing. They said, you got to do what the other states are doing. And she was like, nah. And so they claimed it was a hotspot because there were outbreaks, sure. But was it anywhere near as bad as what Cuomo did? No. And then, were they talking about Cuomo in the nursing homes? No. He was winning Emmys. He was writing his book. He got every pass in the world while he literally killed people. But a couple Republicans not following the orthodoxy were demonized and villainized, and it is not over yet, my friends. DeSantis to Biden. Thoughts of reinstating COVID-19 restrictions? Insane. There was even a period. Apparently, Joe Biden threatened travel restrictions on Florida. And DeSantis snapped back. He was like, what do you think you're doing? These people are insane. Joe Biden is not a president for the American people. A good president. I'll tell you something I like about Bernie Sanders. In 2016, he was asked about gun control. And Bernie Sanders says it's very much an urban versus rural debate. And I was just like, bravo, good sir. And back then, I was much more in favor of gun control, mind you. Much less today, as now I live in a rural area and I've become a gun owner. But I respected that Bernie was reaching out to non-progressives, to conservatives, to people, because he's from Vermont. People up there like guns. They have lots of guns. They live in the middle of nowhere. They want their weapons. And Bernie recognized that. And I said, that's the kind of leadership we need. Someone who recognizes what is right for his constituents and that not everyone believes the exact same thing. Well, I'll tell you what happened. Donald Trump is a boisterous, arrogant person. We won't go beyond that. When they started making demands of him to toe the party line, he went, no, excuse me, I'm the one running. Bernie Sanders says, okay, yes, Hillary, just tell me what to do. And then when Bernie got invited into the ivory tower, he just started towing the line. He started talking about intersectionality and critical race theory, and it backfired with people going up on stage and grabbing his mic from him. That's what you get, Bernie. When you are too weak, he wasn't able to do it. But I can respect that he tried initially. I can't respect him now that he's flip-flopped. Donald Trump, I can respect. That guy fought tooth and nail. I don't respect him for the dumb things he did. Some of the people he hired. He hired a lot of really dumb people. He hired some bad people. He couldn't hire some people. He was obstructed, and I can respect that. Well, now we have Joe Biden threatening to put more restrictions in place. Check this out. Florida Governor Ron DeSantis, and I'll add this caveat, whose policies are now being questioned as maybe it was the right thing to do. On Friday, blasted President Biden's warning that the U.S. could need to reinstate certain coronavirus restrictions if the public does not stay vigilant about defeating COVID-19. Quote, to even contemplate doing any type of lockdown, honestly, it's insane, DeSantis said during a press conference in Florida, touting the state's efforts to administer vaccines to the elderly and other populations. Quote, that's not going to happen in the state of Florida, the governor continued. referring to reinstating restrictions. We're going to continue doing what works, but under no circumstances would we entertain anything of the sort. Biden has repeatedly vowed to not lock down the country, but warned in a primetime address Thursday night that some restrictions may have to be revisited if current downward trends change and the virus resurges. He emphasized, though, that his administration is focused on helping the nation return to normal. Even if we devote every resource we have, beating this virus and getting back to normal depends on national unity, Biden said. And national unity isn't just how politics and politicians vote in Washington. What the loudest voices say on cable or online. Unity is what we do as fellow Americans. Because if we don't stay vigilant, and the conditions change, then we may have to reinstate restrictions to get back on track. And please, we don't want to do that again. Biden spent much of his address discussing the administration's push to increase production and distribution of COVID-19 vaccines and touting his newly signed $1.9 trillion relief bill. Biden last night said they may have to impose more lockdown type policies in the future. I can tell you that ain't happening in Florida. We are not going to let him lock down Florida, Desantis pledged Friday. Well, it doesn't matter. Fauci is apparently telling you what you can and can't do after you get your vaccine. And because of what Fauci has done, I'm sorry, I think Fauci has been one of the most destructive voices in getting things back on track. I know YouTube might not like hearing that. They might get mad at me. I may get, a strike for so, but I have to say it. Dr. Fauci was one of the first people to say not to wear a mask. I kid you not. Everybody's, you've probably seen the video by now, and he flip-flopped later on. He then said, you should double mask. It's common sense. Then he said, no, there's no science to prove that. Then he said, yeah, you know what? Might as well do it. Clearly doesn't know what we should or shouldn't be doing. And he just goes along with what the media is saying. One of the most destructive things about what Fauci has done was that he kept telling people that even if you got the vaccine, you can't do anything. That's it. We should be telling people that the vaccine is the path to a return to normal. The vaccine is the key. I wonder, though, they don't want to give credit to Donald Trump. Think about it. I mean, they were able to exploit, not Fauci, Democrats were able to exploit COVID for much personal gain. I mean, Democrats were saying, like Bill de Blasio, we're going to buy up all this cheap property now. They certainly saw an opportunity to exploit a crisis. Donald Trump said, we're going to pull out all the stops and crank out this vaccine. And then all of a sudden, these media stories popped about how dangerous it was and deadly it was. And I'm just like, bro, they're hyper focusing on a marginal failure rate. Now, look, I understand. We've never done something like this. I mean, we rushed this thing out. It's a new type of vaccine, mRNA vaccine. People have concerns. There have been vaccine injury. These things do happen. But as far as I can tell, after everything I've looked at, this is a tremendous accomplishment, overwhelmingly safe. But for some reason, the media keeps putting out these stories about people getting sick and dying, even when it's spurious correlation. And Fauci's still saying, don't do this after you get the vaccine. Here's the things you can't do. Can you meet up with old friends, the grandkids? Can you go grocery shopping? To try and clear some things up, Fauci said, the chief medical advisor to the president, has been saying that what you should or should not do, don't travel. He says, don't take off your masks. Don't gather with people. This is remarkable. When you'll have quite literally, look at this. You still have to wear your mask. You still can't gather and you still can't travel. No. If you keep telling people that nothing will change, why would they bother getting the vaccine? I want to stress there have been warnings. If you're pregnant, if you have allergies, then maybe it's not right for you. And you should just talk to your doctor. Your doctor knows what's best for you, not some guy on TV, not me. Listen to your doctors. I just don't understand why it is Fauci is of the opinion you can't do these things. Instead of saying, well, we'll give you the guidance, but really talk to your doctor about what makes the most sense because they know what's right for you. And depending on which vaccine you get, I'm sure your doctor can fill you in better. Instead, Fauci's like, if you get the vaccine, apparently nothing changes. That's a terrible thing to say. So I look at what's going on with Desantis. I look at what's going on with Biden. And I look at what's going on in Europe. And it says to me the Democrats are adamant on exploiting this crisis, or at least refusing to take responsibility for hard decisions. DeSantis is certainly willing to make those hard decisions, as is Kristi Noem. In Europe, not so much. They're pathetic and they're weak. Germany declares a COVID third wave has begun. Italy set for Easter lockdown. Quote, we have clear signs. The third wave in Germany has already begun. Lothar Wieler, Head of Robert Koch Institute for Infectious Disease told reporters during a news conference on Friday. German Chancellor Angela Merkel has previously warned the country could be caught in a third wave of infections if restrictive public health measures were lifted too quickly. Italy, meanwhile, is reportedly set to impose another near-national lockdown over the Easter weekend in an effort to curb the spread of the virus. No, I think it's politicians exploiting the crisis. I think there's a crisis, and I think, as the saying goes, never let a good crisis go to waste. There are certainly things we need to do and needed to do, and I can respect at least the honest attempts by many politicians, both Democrat and Republican, in an attempt to save lives. Some things we just had to do. A lot of people are probably saying the lockdowns never made sense. I think 15 days to slow the spread did make sense. We didn't want to overwhelm the hospitals. Fortunately, we did not. But for whatever reason, even though we had the Javits Center and the Mercy in New York, Cuomo decided to put people in nursing homes, killing lots of people. I think Cuomo was playing politics. I think that was an example. Using Javits and using Mercy, that's a win for Donald Trump. Can't have that. We'll take care of it because we're responsible for ourselves. I remember when New York was saying, like, we need more ventilators. And Trump was like, they got a bunch sitting in a warehouse. And then they were like, well, we do, but we still need more. And it's like, bro, what are you doing? They didn't want to give Trump the win. That's it. And they were willing to let all this really bad stuff happen. Look, right now, the media is being forced to reconcile with that fact that the numbers have come out and DeSantis played it right. And I think Kristi Noem deserves credit too. They threw her a parade. We got some problems in this country, my friends, and it is deeply divided political partisanship. So I'll leave it there. Next segment's coming up at 4 p.m. over at youtube.com/Timcast. Thanks for hanging out, and I will see you all then.